Hi guys, glad to see you can make it back for our third installment already on the new single module build, which is of course Jurassic Park. We established that at the end of the last video. So what we're going to do today is give you a rundown of what happened off camera and where we're going to go this week with it. So you see I've got the, let me get off here. Okay. So you see what we have here. We have the backdrop. It's not installed. It's kind of curved on me, which happens with cardboard, and I get that, but I'm going to straighten this up. It'll be straight up and down before I'm done. And I'm batting around a couple of different ideas of how exactly to go about that. But this is going to be straight up and down, not an issue. Okay, so our next thing is to talk about is this is glued down. This is permanent. It's set to go. Not an issue. So let me take these off of here. This is our access road. Now, we talked about in the last video, I batted around the idea of coming across the track, making a crossing here. I decided that's not the way I wanted to go with it. I could have used, because remember, we do have an electrical drop off of this track, but I decided I didn't want to use that for a crossing. I'm still batting around the idea for a block signal, like say put one here and one on this side. One for either track. Not yet certain if that's the way I want to go with that either. There's also a possibility of lighting these up. Still, like I said, it's a possibility. It could be done, but I'm not certain I want to do that either. So we're just gonna wait and see. It's not something that has to be done right away. It's something I can do in the near future. Just like I said, batting around ideas. Also, spitballed an idea that maybe I would get one of those. Well, they call them a DF player. It's basically a small electronic device that hooks up to a speaker, and you can record different sound files, and you can activate them in multiple different ways. What I was thinking was use one sensor that goes across both tracks, and every time a train goes by, it plays something under, that you can hear, obviously mounted below the below here. Maybe even put the speaker, hide the speaker back in here somewhere. I don't know, or underneath. Uh, like I said, I'm and you could also go with putting what's that called? Like dinosaur sounds or something, or the Jurassic Park theme when it crosses over. I don't know. Like I said, I'm spitballing a couple different ideas. I'm not sure which way I want to go with it, but there are options. Okay, and like I said, when I put that uh, right here, put that electric drop, and it's off of DCC, so I know how much voltage is going to be constantly flowing to this thing. The possibilities are, it's up to your imagination. So that's that part. So let's talk about back in here. I also put in this little break because I'm going to build scenery up to it on either side, and then we're going to take probably well, not necessarily this one, maybe this one, and come back over here. So I'm going to have to cut this backdrop down to roughly in here somewhere, and I'm going to put this in as soon as I figure out where exactly, because I want to work on this other stuff out here first. And I'll come in and I'll put one of these in here. I'm thinking I'm probably going to come down with a rock face here of some sort on both sides. So that's probably the route that I'm going to go with. And then, like I said, in the corner, mount one of these on either side, and you know, try to tie it all together with that. Obviously, to make it work with the backdrop, I'll have to trim up some of this, get it so that it just, let's see, just goes in, against the backdrop on either side. So, but that's what I'm going to do with those things. So you notice we did make a road. This will tie in to our other road here and go off the scene. This has to go. I have to go and spray paint this and then tie it in. Now I did put our base coat color down. Yes, this is about ugly green, but it's what I had. But it's um, just to help out. If I have a space that has no color to it or no scenery. So also, if you notice, you can see if you look hard enough. You look on either side. This picture that I managed to find on the internet is what the road currently looks like, not what it looked like during the filming. Um, so what I have to do is I need to fill in on either side. So I went and got some of my moss, and this is Woodland Scenics, and it's their lichen. I believe it's called. Let me just get my package here to. Okay. Of course, I cut off where it is. Yeah, but this is all it is. Okay. It's their version. It's their lichen. There are gonna be little sticks, if you want to call it that, inside it. So you want to pick some of those out. But yeah, you just lay it on there, whatever looks the best, and I'll glue that in, and it will all blend together, and and that's how that'll go. So I need to get, once I get this painted and installed, I'm going to start working on going from front to back, and I'm going to work the scenery in, and see how that all goes. And then when I get to the end, I'll figure out exactly the placement for these guys. I'm not sure where I'm going to put them. Probably something similar to that, but they could go almost anywhere, to be honest. So that's how we're going to do that. And then, in later on, I'll go and I'll throw in some details. Now, this thing did come in two parts. Let me see. Okay. So when you get these are made by a company called Jada, by the way, and they're available on Amazon and also on eBay. I'm not sure if I've seen them anywhere else. I think those are the two prominent places that I look, and prices vary by condition and supplier. I think this one ran me $20, and so we had the Amazon Prime, so it was free shipping. So I mean, like I said, it can vary, but this is actually was in here. I just pried it out because I wanted to have it separate. I was going to work with it a little bit, but this is the other half of this. These are supposed to snap together, and then you add plants on here that are similar or the same as what's already on here. So when it comes in the box, this is already assembled. Okay, you get one of these and you get one Jeep. If you remember, the Jeeps from the movie were white with red trim on them. Obviously, and painted for Jurassic Park. But I elected to buy an accessory set because I wanted two of these, because that's what it looked like in the movie. So the accessory set came with, excuse me, a second Ford expedition or an expedition. Was it expedition? No, Explorer. I'm sorry. Excuse me. I get them mixed up once in a while. But yeah, it came with an Explorer, another Jeep, and also the helicopter. So that gave me ideas for yet another module down the road. Uh, we'll work on that another time. So I got those two Jeeps and the helicopter set aside for a different project. But like I said, these will, I will probably, because it's no sense of wasting them, I'll integrate these in here on the front, as well as the other products like these that I bought. There's some of these jungle looking trees that can go in here. I mean, I have a lot to work with here, and that's just those things. And I have other scenic elements that I can add and will. But the big project, I'll probably try and cannibalize these guys too for something. I'll figure that out. But that's where we're going today. And so that's the game plan so far. Before I do any scenery material, we'll come back and we'll show how I got to that point where we're ready to add the ground cover and also the trees and whatnot, the little shrubs, whatever we call these things. Uh, and we'll get this done. We'll figure out how we're gonna go with this. I thought about coming down, in something like that, but then I thought, well, maybe I should just make it a rock face, and then this comes down from it, and maybe drape a little bit more of this over top of it. So there's a couple of different ideas I'm floating around on that. But I think that's basically it for today. Like I said, and I left this here only as a reference, and so I can look at it and say, okay, well, this is how I'm going to build my scenery towards it. When I get back this far, this will be taken out, and so I don't want to mess up that picture. Even though I did print it off of a printer that I can do again, it's a lot of work, and don't want to waste any ink. So, well, that's very easily, it's not mounted or anything. It's just back there. So it's just like I said, it's just a reference for me to look at and say, okay, well, this is how I'm going to build my scenery towards it. So that's it, I guess. Not much else to tell you about today, but that's our game plan. And when I see you again, we should have the road will be installed. I'll have something that I'm going to use. Either I might use some of the spackling compound, or I have some of this clay, which I'm not crazy about, but I might give a try to. Just not going to roll it out. I'm probably just going to, it might work better if it's all in bunches. Because I'm not trying to cover a big area with it. But I could also use, in addition to this, use the rigid wrap plaster cloth. Okay, so I mean, well, I don't have rigid wrap. I have a generic version of it, but Woodland Scenes puts that out. It's their version. It's their plaster cloth, but they call it rigid wrap. So if you look for it on the internet or at your local hobby store, they should have that there's other companies that make it as well, but Rigid Wrap is the name that they use for a Woodland Scenics version. Um, but that's basically it. I don't think there's anything else I need to tell you about today. Like I said, we did paint this base green, and it's not the greatest, but it's enough that I can work with. Okay. So with that, we're gonna wrap it up, and in our next video, we should have this will be installed, and our basic scenery is installed up to the point where it's needs painted and the actual scenic elements installed. So we're going to take these off and we're going to save them for later. So with that, I will bid you adieu, and remember to like, share, subscribe, and see you same back time, same back channel. Take care, guys.